if people are not willing to spend money, so that's with everything. It's with your listing. You know, if you don't want to make your listing look good, or you don't want to spend money on packaging, you're going to get hit. Same thing with press releases. The main thing you need to look for is a high quality press release company. Free does not mean high quality press releases. So a press release company is somebody that's going to take the press release and either write it for you. So getting a written press release from somebody who's a real press release writer is important. Most times when you go out there and find a press release writer, they're blog writers. Completely two different types of writing styles. And most times they'll get rejected. But on free press release sites, they'll be okay. They'll be accepted, but nobody's going to pick them up. All you're going to do is get a bunch of junk links going back to your Amazon listing, and you'll probably get penalized. It's just, if you've got high quality links like Fox, Washington Post, Miami Herald, that's given a certain amount of weight. So the other thing that you have to look, so the first two things are a good quality press release company, distribution, and a well-written press release. So most of your ranking power in a press release is in the title. So if you don't write the title properly, you're not going to get anywhere. It won't get ranked on. The main thing is you want to get it ranked on Google. So, and you want to have the links going back to Amazon. So here's an example. We just did this. So I just looked at the report, and the report showed that one title got 279 rankings on Google in 24 hours. It had 179 keyword rankings, first page, and 131 rankings number one position on Google in 24 hours. Now, that could be really long tail, 5, 6, it might not make sense at all. But you could take, and this just happened with this, it was Bully Sticks. Bully Sticks is very hard to rank on, and it was Bully Sticks Launch, Bully Sticks Dental Hygiene, all number one. They were, you know, it was spread out. And then I checked back. I was actually doing I was just comparing some keyword phrases that came off of that press release, and I noticed that when I went and I checked in these 4 keywords, that we were number one on Amazon.com, Chewy.com came up, Amazon.ca. The press release from 2016, it actually took up 18 spots in 2 pages of Google. So if people want, and this is the other part of the press releases people don't understand, is that when people go and see a micro brand on Amazon, you're a micro brand. You're a third-party seller when you've got high-quality brands that have tons of money on marketing. You've got to compete with them. So they're going, the average Amazon seller, I don't know about you, but I always go and check them out. Do they have a website? Are they bricks and mortar? Well, if you've got 18 positions filled up because you're marketing your brand nationally, that gives a lot of street cred to your company. So that's really important. But what you have to realize too, there's 2 ways of marketing your company. So you can go out there and get trust and authority, which is important. So that's the example I just gave. Well, how do you get that? Oh, maybe once a month, twice a month, once a quarter, the company publishes a press release. That's important. So you want to get that word out there. Now, people are thinking, oh, it's hard, what do I write about? You can write about anything. You can write about the features and benefits. You can write about the different types of ingredients and their features and benefits. There's so many things that you can write about once you start looking. We have a guide, 108 different topics that you can write about, which will help people out. But they're all over the internet. You can just type in, topics for press releases, and it's very easy to write. The other launch format that we use are multiple press releases. So this is in a launch and rank situation. We'll either write, depending on the search volume and competitiveness of the niche, 4, 8, 12, or 16 press releases. And we'll tie in the same keywords, long tail keywords, and we'll do a rebate, tie in those keywords to the rebates. And time after time after time it works. And it's funny, I hear this all the time. Like people, you'll ask me this, right? I've been on podcasts and people say, well, what do you use? I have like a group that we talk once a week, and I'm always talking about press releases, but then I always hear people coming back and say, well, so what do you use to rank? Press releases. And it's funny because I know some, old school people that are sellers and they live and die by press releases, but we've got a whole group that have gone out there and want to be really cheap. They don't want to spend, a few $100 on a press release. So what they do is it doesn't work for them. They come back and they say it doesn't work. The new people that have never tried press releases see that people are complaining about press releases not working, and they never try them. So what ends up happening is the people that are doing the system properly win, and most of the people, the majority of the people, don't think about press releases. They're looking at all these black hat tactics that you can do to get the money right away, where if you just did this, it's completely white hat. There's nothing wrong with writing a press release.
Ads, you can pay for, there's like a lot of PR services, they're gonna make an article about you, and like Huffington Post, there's like a lot of people who do that. And I even saw like somebody on Fiverr, and he said he can make your article about your company pop up on Yahoo News and Huffington Post and Founder, and there are like people who do targeting PRs for like this big newspapers where people can just like, it lasts for like one day, but people can read about your business, but you can be featured in like very, very big newspapers where a lot of people read.
Press release does more than get a link. So press release, if done properly, can actually get the word out there as well about your new brand. Don't just make up a press release about nothing. Make a press release about this new brand that's come to the table, the new ebook, right? This new business is starting. Something newsworthy, and of course it's backlinks to your page. So yeah, of course. When you make a new blog, you can write a PR releasing the blog. You can say, news release, this blog has just been released and it's talking about this and it's doing this, and it links. Then you link to the blog, which is linking to your Amazon page. So you're creating this larger network structure. So yeah, that works.
And I think this has changed a lot in the last few years. Now, while we do content writing as well with our press release business, just because they go hand in hand, they're brother and sister, there are some hard lessons in there. So we have clients who have their own writers and they pump stuff out and they want the press releases to be coordinated with that. That's fantastic. Here's the secret as far as I'm concerned. Pumping out 500-word blog articles aren't helping. They don't do a darn thing anymore. There was a day when they did, but they don't. If you look at Dr. Axe, for example, that, the company I told you about that's done so well with content marketing, they built their business on 7,500-word articles, big articles, well-written, well-constructed, not spammy, super informative. Google loved it. They ate it up. So what we do is we generally don't do anything that's less than 750 words. So we do a blog article, but we'll mix it up. So we'll do 750 word, a 1,500 word, back to a 750, a 2,500 word. We mix it up. We mix it up all the time. Or we'll do maybe a 3-part series for a blog, so for example. So we'll do part 1, 2, 3, and publish it week after week, for example. I think that's the important thing, is to get away from those really short articles, which aren't really helping that much anymore from our testing, and to mix it up. Just like we do with the links, just like we do with our entire strategy, we're always changing, we're always mixing up, so we're not leaving the same pattern every time.
PR press releases, do them as much as you can. They are good for brand recognition, very good for SEO, to get backlinks.
The thing is, it's not necessarily about good or bad, it's just about how much money you want to spend. If you want to spend zero, then you can use free PR network aggregators and stuff like that, and there's so many. You can submit one by one to PR companies or to news sites or to related, like anyone accepting articles, anything. You could do that manually. Or you could pay hundreds of dollars. It doesn't really get much more than that for an official press release, which is done properly and written properly and sent to the big companies and things like that. And those that they're good, but there are no guarantees that you'll get published or anything like that. it's just a matter of, if you have the money for your marketing budget and you know your spend and you know your income coming out from that and you can figure that out, then do that. But it's not necessarily pick a company or whatnot, like, if you know what I mean.
And if you have a good press release service, that can work very well for you.
So oftentimes, I mean, if we're doing an Amazon ranking, if you want to launch and rank, we will have most of the press releases point to the product. We wouldn't do 3 links in one press release, the same product. We only use 1 link going to your product page. Other press releases following that might point to a related product or a variant. Oftentimes we'll go to your storefront page, for example. But yes, we are also linking to a Shopify site, or to a YouTube video you might have up, or to a blog you've written. So what we usually do is, again, if you came to me and said, "Hey, I want to do 6 press releases over the next 3 months. This is the goal," because we need to find out what your end goal is. We're not just going to do it for the heck of it. We'll formulate a linking strategy around that. It's not hard and fast. It's not written in stone, but generally it's say, okay, you're going to do this. If you're going to produce 1 or 2 pieces of content, all right, let's have, let's say the one press release point to the Amazon product, and we'll have the blogs all point to the press release. So the blogs might not be pointing to Amazon. So we're building it, but it's all funneling down through to your Amazon product. Next time we'll change it up. We'll have the blogs point to it, or, there's so many ways you can change this linking strategy. The point is that we're always doing it differently. So you're not creating a pattern with Google. You're not just hammering on the same links with everything you're putting out there. That's the wrong way to approach it. And unfortunately, that's what most people think they have to do. They put out as much as they can, all pointing to the same listing using the same URL. We tend to not do that.
It's interesting that you said you can link to Amazon listing in each of them, but are you using always the exact same link in all of the 18 different releases?
So if you're doing multiple releases, this is important. So I can get into an overview on the structure. So if we're writing, let's just use 4 press releases. So if we're writing 4 press releases, my goal is to get 4 keywords that I can use for 4 primary keywords that I can use. So I'll go in, and this is the method that I use. I'll go into Helium-10, I'll go into Cerebral, I'll check out roughly around 5 to 10 of the competitors. I'll get the report, and then what I'm looking for is buying keywords, not browsing keywords. So if you want to use bully sticks, dog treats, dog snacks, dog chews are browsing keywords. So the pet owner doesn't know what they want. Bully sticks is a very good buying keyword, but it has such high search volume, it's very hard to compete. So the next step is, so I wipe them off, I get them off the list. I'll go down and I'll say, what's the next big buying keyword? And I know this for a fact. I've looked at it. It's bully sticks made in the USA. And I can't believe it, but that is the next one. It's bully sticks made in the USA. It's 11,000 search volume. It's crazy. So I take that and I do a filter. I see what other keywords in that huge list that I have bully sticks made in the USA. And I've run it. I've seen that there's usually around 12 keywords that have even a longer keyword. So what happens is I take those. So the primary keyword is bully sticks made in USA, and then I have these long tail keywords, which are 6-inch bully sticks, natural bully sticks made in the USA, 12-inch bully sticks made in the USA. So that's one keyword. I call it a silo, but it's just a worksheet. Then I'll go down and I'll look another one. The other one might be odorless bully sticks. Okay, do the same thing. Do a filter, organic odorless bully sticks, natural 6-inch bully sticks, and I get those. So the key is I want to make sure that I do 4 of these high volume long tail keywords. Okay, I've got 4 press releases. I take 1 of each of those product silos and I pop them in. So the one press release must have bully sticks made in the USA, and that goes back to the same link. That goes back to my my product listing. The next one, odorless. goes back. That's the second press release, goes back to the product listing, and then the third and the fourth does the same thing. You're not doing any super URLs. You're going back to a product listing. And then you can have up to 3 of these types of links going back. But I typically would go 1 going back to your primary. The second one could either go to, you can cross-promote a product. So maybe I have rawhide. So I could cross-promote that. Or I could promote a blog article on my e-commerce site. Or I could promote an authority link. So for this, it could be Paulina or somebody who has a really great influencer network for pets. So that's what I do for the press releases. And then with the rebates, I go and I use a click meter or something like that, and I take those long tails and I put them through click meter. And so all of those that have bully sticks made in the USA are going to support the actual primary keyword. And you have very little, like you'll notice that you might have to give away 2 or 3 rebates to be number 1 on the page. And you just keep going and going. And this is a real example. We did a knife, a very expensive knife. And the one keyword would have cost, according to Helium 10, it would have cost 770 rebates to get to be number 1. We gave out 100 units across 12 keywords that had the word chef knife in it, and we ended up dominating the word chef knife across all areas of Amazon. 55 Amazon Choice badges, and not going out and trying to trick the system. It just happened this way. And chef's knife ended up coming up organically by itself, and we're either number 1 or number 3 going across. And the sales have been incredible for the customer. And the customer was happy because he also did, we talked him into it, a brand that was another knife and didn't do press releases or rebates. And it never came up. It came up, it got to about 25 using the same keywords, but it never went over that. Then we cross-promoted it at the very end of the campaign with our other press release. It skyrocketed. It had the ability to do it. And as soon as, and I have this as an example, but as soon as the press release went out, you can see the day the press release went out, the next day, the other knife went up. It's really cool, like just watching the patterns.
There's like a lot of PR services, they're going to make an article about you, and like Huffington Post, there's like a lot of people who do that. And I even saw like somebody on Fiverr, and he said he can make your article about your company pop up on Yahoo News and Huffington Post and Founder. And there are like people who do targeting PRs for like this big newspapers where people can just like, it lasts for like 1 day, but people can read about your business, but you can be featured in like very, very big newspapers where a lot of people read.
But also me coming from the business of understanding press releases. Now, I didn't just fall into this. I've been using press releases every month since 2014. And I had great success with them. And then I had really very little results for about maybe a year, maybe a bit less than a year, around 2015, 2016. And I couldn't figure out why. So when I partnered up with prReach with my partner, Norm Farrar, we just did testing to figure that out. And we created this system where we're using press releases to help launch and rank products. And the reason why I love press releases, and I'm obviously, I'm shameless plug here for prReach, and that's not my intent. I want to help people, and if you want to talk about other things, we can absolutely do that. But the neat thing about press releases is that one press release. Now, I don't recommend just doing one. You should do a series of them over time. But with a press release, you're getting nationwide distribution. So, you might spend a couple $100. You're getting into, ABC, Kansas City, and, Miami Herald and Boston Globe. And you're getting into places like that. Where else can you get that value? So you're building authority. So you're getting a brand in front of people. You do get some amount of sales from the traffic. But the key thing is, and why it didn't work for us for a while, was we got lazy. Just like with your Amazon listing, if you don't do your keyword research, if you don't create your title properly, it's not going to rank well. And it turns out it's the same thing with press releases. So we have a very specific format for creating the title using our keyword research, the body, and intelligent linking. But we also use content marketing in conjunction with the press release. So when we launch products, so we hit it with press releases, it ranks. But the great thing is it sticks a lot longer than traditional launch programs. Now, I've done every type of launch there is. I've created my own courses, which are still available online on launching products. And I've used every service out there, I think. Maybe there's a couple I haven't, but I've done so many things. And the lovely thing with press releases, and especially combined with content marketing, if you have them formatted properly, is that you can spend so much less money on the other aspects of your promotion. So, these days everybody's doing rebates, right? That's a very popular thing to do. I mean, if you're great at Facebook ads, then man, I'd stick with Facebook ads. If you've got that dialed in, great. But any external keyword traffic you're using, most people are using a rebate. So let's say it's recommended for XYZ product for that keyword. You're moving 50 units a day, for example. We get away with a fraction of that when we're using press releases. So we might give away 8, 6, 4, 3, 12. We'll mix it up. We'll see what happens. And it saves us a ton of money over the long term. And that's one of those, remember when I said back in 2015, 16, around there, we were having poor luck. We were using way too many links or the same links, and we weren't intelligently linking them. And that's, of course, Google algorithm is constantly changing. And we got caught up in that a little bit. And it wasn't until we realized. So, for example, Paulina, if you came to me and you said, hey, I want to do some press releases over the next 3 months. I'm going to do 2 a month for the next 3 months. Okay, cool. Out of those 6 press releases, we might even have 1 or 2 of them with no links at all. So what we recommend is no more than 3 links, absolutely maximum, but we mix it up. So I'll have a press release with 1 link, 1 with 3, 1 with none, 1 with 2, and we're not just hammering on the same link all the time. That's the wonderful thing about doing it in conjunction with, let's say you do a piece of content, like you do a 750-word blog article, for example. Your press release might be linking to your blog article, and your blog article might be pointing to your Shopify or Amazon page, for example. So we create a system, and we're always changing it. We never do the same thing. So we're always creating lots of cross links, different links. And of course, the wonderful thing with press releases is you get all the high authority backlinks from all these high authority sites, Fox and you name it, right? All these big media distribution sites. So you're kind of getting so many things at once. So even let's say you're an Amazon seller and you want to use press releases to rank your product. Okay, great, wonderful. If it helps you out, wonderful. You get a little boost. It helped your product launch, super. But you also get the authority backlinks. You get the authority of people seeing your brand. You get to use that in your advertising. And the other thing too is press releases will often stick around for weeks, months, years sometimes. So it's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. And because we do video press releases as well, what we do is we shoot the video in our studio. So we have a professional news anchor talking about your product. So the news anchor comes out, we talk about your product. People view that a little bit differently because it's a third party talking about you. It's not you pumping your own stuff. It's somebody else talking about your stuff. And we give you that video. So you can use that video in your social media. You can use it in advertising. You can have influencers do a write-up and then point to it. You can post it on YouTube. You can do all these different things with that video. So you're right. I think if you just came along and just banged out a whole bunch of press releases, all using the same link, it's probably not going to do any good at all. But we don't do that. We have a very intelligent formatting and linking process so that you're always doing variety and you're always mixing it up with Google.
But you said I'm not going to get many sales from doing press releases. So what's the actual benefit of doing them at all then?
Did I say you wouldn't get many sales from press releases? Maybe I said that you're not going to get a ton of traffic. Like, you do get some traffic. So here's the rub. Press releases aren't really meant to be read. They need to be written well so they can be read, and you will get some amount of traffic from them. But they're primarily used to get the backlinks and the authority and the Google ranking. So what we do is with any SEO strategy. So if I'm selling a computer mouse, I'm not going to go after computer mouse. I'll use computer mouse for PC, or like I'll go after those longer tails. But I'll have the same seed keyword. The interesting thing with press releases is that versus any other SEO strategy, if we hit your Amazon listing with 6 long tails, for example, all contain the same keyword, seed keyword, all those will ramp right up and we'll have great success usually with all those. But the seed keyword takes a nice boost as well. Oftentimes we can get it to the top of page 1 without focusing on that seed keyword. Other keyword strategies we've done in the past, we've done every strategy you can imagine over the last 6 years. We never had the seed keyword rise up that well, that consistently. Occasionally we did. Other times it would just stay flat and do nothing, but the long tails would go, okay. With press releases, you don't get that effect. And I think it has a lot to do with those high authority backlinks, with the Google rankings. And we obviously don't just do stuff for Amazon. If you own a bakery or you're a dentist, for example, and you want to promote your business, we also do geo targeting. So your location targeting. So if you want to show up in your local search results, a dentist in Phoenix, Arizona, we're going to try and get you to the top of those search results too. So we're not just doing online stuff, but it's that combination, that whole of the SEO, Google, authority backlinks, building authority, building your brand, multi-linking. It's kind of this whole complete package. And one part doesn't seem to outweigh the other. Sometimes it does, and then other times it doesn't. And Google's algorithm is always changing. All I know is that Google loves content, they love educational content, and they love well-written stuff. It's not just keyword stuffed. And that's what we're giving them every single time. And when you combine that with well-written content marketing, you've got a winning combination.
But what I also think works really well is if you have a product that really is new, makes it different, is different from your competitors, you can also reach out to those huge media companies like BuzzFeed. I mean, they put out extreme amounts of content every day. And of course, they also need content, so they will be happy to feature you if they see, okay, this is really something people could be interested in. And I think that's a pretty good way also to get viral. I mean, if you sell the 20th Garlic press with just your logo on it, I don't think that a news magazine will cover your product. But if you have something that is unique, this is also definitely something you should try out.
You can't release the same content over and over. It has to be a unique piece of content. So, and that's what we do. That's what our writers do. So, for example, if you're selling a computer mouse and you want to do a campaign over 6 press releases or 12 press releases over a period of time, we would work with you on the topics, and we would write various topics based on the information you give us. But each one would be a completely unique piece of content.
And what type of websites you would publish my articles on? Like what websites it would get on? Like, do people know those names, or are they famous websites?
Yeah. So we have a pretty big distribution list. Normally when we do a press release, I'd say you get published between 350 to 500 high authority sites, like the Boston Globe, ABC, NBC, Fox, all those affiliate stations, ton of newspapers. We also have the ability to publish to Reuters and to the Yahoo Finance Network. So what we do is, I wouldn't say, so there's an extra charge for that because it's a separate distribution system. What I do to clients is I say, hey, if you got a particularly newsworthy press release, let's boost that out to those other networks and you get massive exposure. And so the other aspect I didn't touch on with press releases is one of the ideas is you're getting your name out there, your story out there, your topic out there, and that's getting picked up by journalists. Bloggers are scanning for it. Influencers are scanning for it. They're looking for interesting things to talk about. So what we do is we teach our clients to tie into trending topics. So a recent example I made up at the top of my head the other day was, let's say any trending topic will do. So sporting events, a royal wedding, things in the news, the college admissions scandal, you name it, anything you can tie your product into. And it's super easy to do. So let's say the Super Bowl is coming up, the big, football game. As that's approaching, it's everywhere in the news. Everybody's buzzing about it, talking about the teams, talking about the players, talking about this, that, the other thing. You can't get away from it. It's the newspapers, it's magazines, it's everywhere you go. If you are a private label seller, for example, and you sell sporting goods, or you sell, let's say, mouth guards, for kids, what a perfect opportunity. You write a headline that talks about, a large percentage of NFL concussions can be prevented by, or preventing early childhood concussion injuries. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, but you can tie in as an expert in your field and then talk about how mouth guards prevent concussions, which, once you get a concussion, it's easier to get one after that, right? So if you're an adult prone to concussions, if you had them as a kid, that's probably why. Again, that's just a very top of my head example, but you can pretty much take any product. I'm looking at my table, looking at all these different things, products, and I just go to Google News. And I just search through the news headlines for that day and find out ways to do that. One interesting thing I did do, and we'd had a brand where we sold silicone oven gloves. It's one of those things I tell people never ever to sell because it's oversaturated market. But I inherited this product from someone. So fine. And I remember it must have been 2 years ago, at least now, maybe even a little bit, 2 years ago. And in the news, I kept seeing day after day, whether it was television or on the internet, it was about these robot hamburger makers. These restaurants were installing them in California, and they were taking jobs, and there was or it was a real novelty thing. People were coming just to watch the robot flip these hamburgers, right? It was called Flippy the Hamburger Maker or some stupid thing. So I called up the company. I just said, hey, that's pretty cool. We make silicone gloves. Why don't we make one specifically for your robot? And they said, fantastic idea. Just that simple. From a stupid, simple, little private label item that people wouldn't even give a second thought to, I tied into something really big and blew it up, right? So it's really that easy once you get your mind tuned into it, and that's what we help our clients do. If we have a full campaign, like for the things we do for ourselves, or for our clients who want us to launch and rank for them, which we don't really do a lot of, we'll do it for bigger clients typically. So, okay, obviously we're doing press releases. Obviously we're doing content because that's our business. Okay, fine. So if we've got 6 pieces of content over the next 3 months, for example, that we're going to put out, we maximize that. So we always reuse and repurpose content. So if we have a blog article written, we'll transcribe it, make a nice script out of it, and we'll shoot a video, and it goes on YouTube. We will share it on social media. We'll change the title, we'll change the content, or we'll put it up, and then we'll edit it a few weeks or a month or 2 later. Google sees those edits, right? Their bots crawl. So let's say we put up a 1,000-word article, for example, on our blog. A month later, we'll come and we'll add some more. We'll update it. Google loves that. We often work with influencers. So we'll talk about an influencer, or we'll get some influencers to talk about our product and then point to that article. We tie it together with as many things as we can. Sometimes we'll put it in a company newsletter. There are just so many different ways of pointing to it. So basically, and everyone's different. Not everyone has all the social medias. Not everyone, and that's fine. You just use what you have. Whatever you've got, maximize it. Then just slowly add more things into your entire, product universe, and use those every single time. And that's what we do. And it works fantastic. I mean, sometimes things don't work out as well as we'd like, or influencers didn't do the job we wanted. But over time, you tend to find those influencers that really resonate well with your audience. They're talking in the same tone. They've got the same niche, and you just dial it in. It's just a matter of working through it and trial and error. Same with, if you don't like writing articles yourself, most people don't. It takes time sometimes to find a good writer that really writes well for your brand or your products or your audience, right? And that's all we do, is we just squeeze every drop out of content that we have.